Dave Ward was my best friend. Many of you can say the same. He had that effect on us. I met Dave as a freshman at RPI. We lived in Hall. Yes, that was really the name. And Dave's room was 3 doors down from mine. I arrived at RPI a Christian in a new world. My first friend at RPI was Samson Lee, and we were committed to finding a church, but were not able to find one that suited us. During that first semester, my attendance waned, and outwardly I showed little to indicate that I truly was a believer. Now, you might not believe this, but Dave was quite memorable even back then on the dorm floor. I don't remember exactly how we met and what we discussed, but it wasn't long before we began talking about more significant issues. One night, as we talked through the night and into the morning about what it meant to follow Christ, I kept agreeing with what he said, everything, only I wasn't doing anything about it. That began a close relationship with Dave, and as we spent more time together, his discipleship of me was a natural result. I joined his dorm small group Bible study, and by our sophomore year, the Bible study had grown too large for one group, and he asked me to lead one of the spin-off groups, and Samson led the other. After we graduated, I moved to lovely Charlottesville and worked for a small company called Barron Associates. After 5 years, my new wife and I moved to San Diego, and I was asked by the owner and namesake of the company, Roger Barron, if I knew anyone whom I could recommend to take my place. A year later, after returning to the Ville, Roger let me know in glowing terms how recommending Dave was the best thing I ever did. I wasn't quite sure how to take that. But that was one of the great joys of my life, seeing Dave and Jean build BAI over the years. Dave and I would often talk about how to honor God and being a boss, and I learned a lot from Dave as he grew in this regard. Dave was a builder, for which I'm grateful, as I am not. Whenever he came to visit us in San Diego, there would always be a home project for him to help with that weekend. The first project was putting up rain gutters. The next was building a tree fort with a ladder access and zip line, which became a highlight of the neighborhood and still stands rock solid to this day. In typical Dave fashion, there were no plans. We just bought some wood and hardware and went at it, figuring things out as we went along, and finishing most of it in one day. For the next project, we built trim and molding for the master bedroom. On Sundays, Dave would attend church with us, and people there would come to know him and look forward to his visits. In fact, friends at church soon began to ask when Dave was coming again and offered to have their barbecue at their house in hopes that Dave would build something for them too. One time, Dave came to our house with a minivan and announced to Barb, where's Barb? There's Barb. Announced to Barb that we were remodeling the kids' bathroom the next day, and that she would have to pick everything out at Lowe's in the next 90 minutes before they closed. Off we all went together with the kids in Dave's rental minivan, Dave purposely careening down the highway to heighten the entertainment effect. After the minor miracles of one, Barb making binding remodeling choices in 30 minutes and fitting everything, including the full-length countertop in the van, around the kids and car seats, and put in sinks and faucets and built a cabinet and drawer the very next day. It didn't matter that we had unwittingly picked out a deeper kitchen countertop, rather than a bathroom countertop. We just cut the molding on the floor to make it fit. Presto, we had more space on the bathroom counter. Barb and I respected Dave and Joanne so much, we would often discuss issues regarding marriage, child-rearing, and relationships. In fact, whenever Barb and I would find ourselves in an argument at an impasse, we would invariably say, okay, we need to run this past Dave and Joanne, and we agreed to go along with their verdict, whatever it might be. And we did. Humility prevents me from saying who Dave and Joanne sided with most often. When I look back at the nearly 30 years I've known Dave, I see the clay that God has molded through the years. Dave matured since RPI. Thank God for that. And we've seen so much happen since those first days. I think of Dick and Margot, whom Dave, I, and so many of you prayed for, and those prayers were answered in ways that far exceeded what we could have imagined. I think of how Dave needed Joanne and how much she, him, truly a match ordained by the Lord. We'll miss Dave, but even with the pain that comes from him not being here with us, our hope is his hope. I will glory in my Redeemer, who carries me on eagle's wings. He crowns my life with loving kindness. His triumph song I'll ever sing. I will glory in my Redeemer, who waits for me at gates of gold. And when he calls me, it will be paradise, his face forever to behold.
Yeah.
So, these are comments from Dean. I met Dave as a high school student. We were friends, and we're not Christians or anything, but we went to church because that's where our friends were, and they invited us. So that was a good thing. We didn't come from Christian homes or anything, and we enjoyed. We're typical teenagers. We were into having fun, doing what was fun, right? So that was my relationship with Dave. The church we were at talked about making Jesus the Lord of your life. And we liked going there, but we hadn't done anything like that. And then Dave did. Dave did. He made Jesus the Lord of his life. And for me as his friend, I noticed a change. I noticed a change immediately. Everything didn't change immediately, but his heart was clearly different. The things he cared about were different. It really rocked me. We've been going here for a couple of years, and I began to think, this is real. This is real. And I gotta stop playing around with this. It really made me think. I remember thinking, and what am I doing here? I've been coming to this place, and his changed life has rocked mine. And I remember as a service, I raised my hand. I want to make Jesus the Lord of my life. And I did. And that rocked my world. And we grew up in the Lord together. And some things were, we just shared life together for years, sharpening each other, doing things together, and crazy things. I'm sure you all know about that, right? But it was neat. Two things stood out to me right from the get-go. One was Dave was in the Word. He loved his Bible. He read his Bible, his devotional time. He spent a lot of time in the Word, and you can see the fruit of that. How that really changed him. It was crazy. He really did spend a lot of time. He'd memorize. He'd meditate. He spent a lot of time in the Word. That was a distinctive of his from the very beginning. The other was something that nobody knows much about. Not me. I'm not saying I do. Was his giving. He gave generously, and he believed not letting your right hand know what your left hand is doing. He gave generously, and I'm sure Joanne doesn't know all the giving he's done. Because he would give in a planned way beyond what you would ever have expected, and he would give in unplanned ways, which means he would just be generous when he saw an opportunity to. And that was a distinctive. Before he prospered, before he had lots of stuff, that was a distinctive early on. He was very generous, and those are two biggies. This week I've been here and talking to a lot of y'all, and wow, I think I've come full circle because I'm back to where I started with Dave. I see how his heart was changed, and I'm challenged to renew my faith, renew my commitment to the Lord. It's real, and it's time to be serious about it for me. That's where I'm at, and it's been a powerful week going through all these pictures and getting to meet you and hearing all the stories. It's been awesome. But my takeaway is I'm going back to the beginning.
Amen.